Thank you for having me here.
All right, real quick, I want everybody to do something real quick. If you can, like by show of hands, who all went to college at some point for a year, a little, just about everybody, right? Pretty much, right? So if you remember that transition from from coming out of high school, going into college, you probably had your parents, maybe an aunt, an uncle, maybe a mentor, maybe a neighbor. Somebody took you to school, somebody helped you check into your dorm rooms, somebody helped you access whatever it was you needed, whether it was books, whether it was finding out what your meal plan was going to be, whether it was finding an apartment, right? Now, some of us had really active and involved parents. Some of us parents just could get us there. Didn't have money to pay for school. We had to figure most of that out, but you had somebody there. And now some of us had just one person that said, look, let me help you however I can. And you might not even know that person, but you can say if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't have made it. We all have those experiences. But here's the thing, right now, today, there's over 500,000 kids in the foster care system throughout the United States. Every year, 240,000 of them leave the foster care system, and they don't have that. They don't have a mother, father, mentor, coach, anybody there for them. And the statistics that affect these kids, they're deplorable, right? Because 70% of all the prisoners in the American prison system were former foster youth. 80% of all death row inmates were former foster youth. 40% of those kids that leave out of the foster care system, out of that 240,000, will end up homeless within the first 3 years. Less than 1% will go and graduate college. And we see what happens, right? Because it's crime everywhere, welfare is skyrocketing, we see what's happening, right? And here's the thing, the problem is not necessarily that these kids that leave the system, it's not that they don't want to succeed, and it's not that there aren't resources, right? But there's this big wall in between what the resources are and how they go about accessing them, right? And simple things like housing, an apartment, a dorm room, a transitional living place, education, a 2-year school, 4-year school, or job training program, relationships like mentors, cousins, family, volunteers, people who just want to be in their lives. Jobs, and we're talking the basic day labor, right? There's a big divider affecting how they get to these things. And then things like commerce, right? So with that divider being there, we have kids that are just out here who, from the time they've grown up, have been in this system, have went from home to home on average 7 different foster homes, right? And then at 18, the system kicks them out and expects them to thrive with no way of doing it, right? And saying, here's your stack of things, go figure out life. Good luck. Well, it's failed. And it's failed horribly, and I know from experience because I grew up in foster care myself, and it was the same results for me, right? Luckily, I was able to defy some of those odds that affect the kids leaving the system. But this is what's going on. So here we are. I came up with this vision, this project called MyFoco. The goal with MyFoco is to create a social ecosystem that aggregates all the resources that kids need that leave the foster care system. So bringing in housing, education, employment, relationships, and commerce, all into one place. Creating a central location so when kids leave the foster care system, they can access what they need without all the monotony of trying to figure out life in the same process, right? So now you can get to what you need, and then we surround you with a virtual family. So now the people who want to be mentors, volunteers, peers, they all have a way of accessing and interacting with you, right? But in order to get that done, I'm gonna need a couple of things, right? I'm gonna need a team of superheroes, right? And I'm gonna need some really badass web application engineers. I just found out that's what I needed today. Shout out. But no, in all seriousness, right? What I bring to the table is this: is that I've been in several different startups, right? I've had some success, and then I fell dead flat on my face because I was so cocky and arrogant, right? I have commitments from every state agency in the country, right? I sit on the Texas Supreme Court Judicial Committee for Youth, Families, and Children. We make all the policy that governs the state of Texas and how they interact. And everybody's telling me, because I'm dealing with a bunch of politicians or a bunch of social workers, they're saying, yeah, right. It just seems impossible. But as entrepreneurs, we know what? Nothing's impossible. It's just finding the right people to do it. So I need people who say, you know what? I'm not looking for people who want to come work for free, right? That's not what I'm looking for. But I need people who say, you know what? I care enough about this cause, right? I care enough to do something and then take technology and use it in a way that it's never been used before for a group that can benefit from it more than anybody else in this world. And here's my information. Email me, call me, tweet me. Don't Facebook, because I have 1,000 spam messages on Facebook. I don't check it. But just let me know. And if you're interested, I'd love to discuss it more. But whatever you bring to the table, I can assure you we can figure a way to make it work. And we'll etch out all the details. Thank you all.